Okay, now in this second video, I want to continue document formatting, and in this case, I want to insert a table into the document, add footnotes and endnotes, insert citations, and also create a bibliography. Okay, now a table basically is just a grid of columns and rows that you can fill with text and graphics. A cell is a box formed by the intersection of a column and a row. That's a cell. And the lines that you see that divides the columns and rows of the table are called borders. Okay, it's very simple to insert a table into a document. All right, you can use the insert command on the insert tab, and you can specify your number of columns and the number of rows. Okay. All right, so I'll go to the home tab, click on my show hide button again to see my paragraph marks and my page breaks and section breaks and stuff like that. And I want to insert the table. Before that, let's create a third section for that document. I have preventive options. Let me see that. Here. Okay. Here. So I'll insert my table somewhere here. All right. So I'll select this preventive options. I'll make that one column. So you see what happens when I do that. So I'm selecting the heading preventive options, and I'm also selecting the two paragraph marks below it. Okay. And then I will go to the layout tab and I will make that one column. Okay, like this. And I'll just select one, like that. See? And that becomes my section 3, but it's one column. Okay. Then I'll place my insert point here below because I want to place my table here. I'll go to insert tab here, and I will click on the insert table button here. Okay, here I click on the insert table. I can simply use the grid here to specify the number of rows and columns I want. Okay, by just using the grid, or I can use insert table here and then specify exactly the number of columns that I want and the number of rows. Okay, so I want 5 columns, and for rows, let's make that 6 rows. Okay. Okay, so 5 columns and 6 rows, and we'll make sure we have fixed column width selected, so it means that all of them are the same size, and then I will just click on OK. Like that. Okay. And I go to the home tab, and then I can turn this off. Okay, and I see my table. Okay. All right. So let's just insert some text in the table to make it look a little more user friendly. All right. So in the first text, I'll type disease. Then I'll press tab to go to the next column. Type in vaccine. get vaccinated, folks. And I will type in drug. Type in drug. And I'll press tab again. And then I will type in eat and drink safely. So just type in some things in there. And I'll press in tab again. And I will see avoid insects. Now pressing tab again, that takes me to a new column. Okay. All right. So for my first type of disease, I'll type in malaria. And then I want to put in some check marks to, because it says the preventive options for serious travel health issues. So for malaria, is a vaccine required? What is the drug? Should you eat and drink? Avoid insects? Stuff like that. So I'll tap twice. Okay, and then I'll get a first, one of the quickest ways to insert a check mark is just use the bullet list from the paragraph group. Yeah. Just bullet list there, and I'll just use this check mark here. Okay, so I get the bullet. And I'll tab again, and then I'll add another bullet the same way. Right, etc., 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 etc. Okay. Let's do a second. Let's do one other disease. So let's insert another column. The typhoid. Okay, typhoid fever. And I'll tab here. And again, insert a check mark. And then I'll insert another check mark here on the eat and drink safely. And that should do it for my table. And then I can put in all the diseases, but then I just want to illustrate the insertion of a table into your document. And then sometimes you want to make sure that your table layouts properly, you know, that everything is aligned and fits well and stuff like that, you know. So again, when you have a table, you get those context menu, table design and layout. Okay, table design, layout, where you can do fancy things with tables. Okay, so under the layout tab, you can use auto fit, which basically adjusts the size of the text, like here, auto fit. Okay, and I'll select auto fit contents. Like that. So it will basically adjust the width of the columns. And then I go back on auto fit again and I fit it to the window, auto fit window, where it will center it. Okay, like that between the windows, between the two margins. Alright. You can use the select button here to select a cell, column, or the entire table. So if I need to select the entire table, I use this like that, and that selects the entire table. And here you can use that to align your text within the tables. All right. So let's align that center. Align center like this. Let's use that. You see what happens. And again, you have lots of options, so it's up to you when you are designing your when you design your tables, you have lots of options. So if I click on this here, I can select the column. I can just go to select here and then select column, and then that selects that column, and then you can format that column separately. Okay. If I wanted to align that, say align that center left, I just go here. That's align center left like this. So I can align the table, I can align columns, I can align rows, and I can do all of that stuff. Okay. And then I can also use a preset. So if I go to table design now, right, I can use a fancy I just click on the small button here, and I can use one of those fancy styles. Okay, any of these, let's use one of those. Yeah, and I get a nice fancy table. Okay, so it's very easy to insert tables into the document. All right, let's deal with footnotes and endnotes. What is a footnote and what is an endnote? All right, now for professional looking documents, okay, you use footnotes and endnotes in a document to provide further information or explanatory text or references for text that you have in a document. A footnote or an endnote is basically an explanatory note at the bottom of the document, either at the bottom of the page or at the end of the document. So it's an explanatory note that consists of two link parts. The note reference, which is a mark where you might see a number 1 or a graphic or number 2. Okay, that's the note reference mark. So it appears next to the text to indicate that additional information is offered in a footnote or an endnote. All right, and then you have the corresponding footnote or endnote itself at the bottom of the page. Now, Microsoft Word will place a footnote at the end of each page and will place endnotes at the end of a document. So the footnote is at the bottom of the page, the endnote is at the end of the document. And of course, you can insert and manage your footnotes and endnotes using the tools in the footnotes group on the reference tab. Okay, so if I click on references here, all right, I have a footnotes group where I can insert an endnote which should go at the end of the document, or I can insert a footnote which should go at the bottom of the page. So let's illustrate that. All right, so I'm at the top of the document. All right, so I'll add a footnote here after the word result here, after the page 1, after this, okay, word result. So if I add a footnote, I'll get a little number 1 here, and then I'll have to type in the text for the footnote. Okay, so I simply click on the insert footnote button here like that. Okay, and then I get a little number 1 at the bottom there, which is my reference mark, and then I type in the actual footnote. So my footnote will read behavior is a critical factor. Just keep something short. Okay, so that's one footnote. Like that. Okay? Can be several lines, can be 2 lines long, but this will be additional information that you want to provide for the document. Okay? Alright, so that's my first footnote. So again, here you'll see a little number 1. Let me just zoom in so you can see that. Okay, so you see the little number 1 here. It's my footnote. Okay, so that's the reference mark. All right, so it means that this one here, so when I go at the bottom here, I will see a little 1. Okay, and this is the footnote. Okay, if I have more than 1 footnote, then it means that I will have several footnotes at the bottom of the document. Okay, let's insert another footnote. Page 3. I wanted to put in a footnote somewhere. All right, let's add a footnote somewhere here. Okay, and again, remember, all you have to do is just click on the insert footnote, and this time it will be number 2 because I've done number 1. Okay, and then I insert my footnote. Okay, I say all medication should be stored. Simple as that. Must be stored. Okay. And so that's my second footnote. Now, what if I want to delete if I wanted to delete a footnote? Okay, it's very easy to delete footnotes. Okay. In order to delete the footnote, you have to delete the reference mark. If you delete the reference mark, the footnote itself will automatically be deleted. Simple as that. Okay, so I have 2 footnotes. All right, and then if you have a very long document, it's easy to go to navigate to your footnotes. For example, I can just go next footnote. Okay, next again. If I'm at the top of the document and I click next footnote, it will take me to my footnotes in the document. Okay, so I can go from one point to the other. All right, and last but not least, I want to add a bibliography. I just want to demonstrate that. Okay, so your bibliography has to do with citations. Okay, so when you write research papers and reports, you normally refer to other documents, and it's always good to give other authors credit. So if you're using somebody else's work or you're quoting from somebody else's work, it means that you're citing either can be a website or a paper or a textbook. All right, you have to make sure that you indicate it's a citation. Okay, so it's a reference, so that you can give credit to the source. So it can be a quotation, or it can be other information that you use in the document. All right. Now, citations usually include the name of the author, and if it's a print source, it will have the page numbers. Okay, what page number you're citing from. When you insert a citation, you can use an existing source. So if the source is already stored on your machine, on your computer, that is an existing source, so you can cite from that, or you may have to create a new source. Each time you create a new source, the source information is saved to your computer so that you can always reference that same source again. Okay? And so anytime you create a source, it's saved to your machine, and you can use that source in multiple documents. Okay? All right. Let's go to the top of the document. I'll put a citation. Let's go to this a citation here. I'll put it before the period. Okay. And then on the references, I have my citations there. Normally, you have to select a style. There's different styles. Some using MLA, the 7th edition. Some using that style. Okay, there are different citation styles. Sometimes your lecturers will specify that you use a certain style, right? Or even universities specify what style that they want to use. Okay, and here I'll click the insert citation button here. Okay, and you can see the various sources that I have so far on my machine. Okay. If I wanted to add a new source, okay, so I don't want to add any of those sources, I'm adding a new source. I click on this, and I get my new source button. Okay, so the type of source, you'll have to create a type. So depending on the type of source, your dialog box will change. So if it's a book, these are the fields that you have to fill in. So let's use a report. The type of source is from a report. Yeah. And then we'll use corporate offer checkbox like that, which means that you'll have to provide a corporate offer. And let's enter some data in there to create the source. So it's a report, and then here it's from the offer is World Tourism Organization. Okay. And then the title. So normally you get that from the source, whatever it is. Can be a magazine, can be a newspaper. Okay. Let's put in the year, 2020 as the year, and then the publisher is again World Tourism. Remember that's a report. Okay, and you can have things like the city, castries. Okay, and then you can specify the report type. Is it a white paper, a research paper, whatever it is. All right, and here you can put in a tag name, stuff like that, and then you click on OK, and that's my source. So whatever the information I have in there, this is where it's coming from that source. Click on OK, see, and then I have the citation being inserted here. Okay, World Tourism Organization. And normally you want to format that slightly differently, okay, so that it looks different from the rest of the document. So sometimes you want to format that. Okay, so you can just click on that to select it, and here you get a down arrow, and then you can use the options in the arrow there. You can edit the citation if you want. Okay, you can edit the source. All right, and things like that. So there are a number of options that you have there. Okay, so let's use edit citation, the number of pages, 19 pages in that document. Okay, and I click on. Okay, so which means that that edits basically my citation. And I can also change the color or put this in italics or change the font and stuff like that. Okay, so that's basically how you cite a source. Okay, I'll change the text, color of the text in there. Okay, this is a blue color. Right, and I'll put this in italics, and then I'll just make this slightly smaller, like this. Right, so it looks a little different from the rest of the text, and you know that this is a citation. Okay, and then last but not least, I want to simply add a bibliography to my document. All right. Now, for professional documents, so for example, if you're at university and you're doing a research paper or thesis, you always need to insert a bibliography. Okay, and your bibliography basically is just a list of your sources, whether you cited them in the document or whether you read them when you were preparing the document. You can include all of those sources as part of your bibliography, because normally your audience want to know where is it you got your information from. Okay, so your bibliography is simply a list of the sources that you used or you referenced in creating the document. Okay, the list of the sources can include only the works that you cited in the document. In this case, it's called a works cited list, or it may include both the works that you cited as well as the works or the documents that you consulted. In this case, it's a bibliography. Okay, so Microsoft Word enables you to automatically generate a bibliography, all right, using the sources that you have provided, using the sources that you have on your computer. The Source Manager dialog box can help you manage your sources, and you can add your bibliography to your report. Okay, the bibliography is inserted as a field, just like you have your page numbers, and it can also be formatted any way that you choose. Bibliographies, of course, are inserted at the end of the document. So I'll press Ctrl-N to go to the end of the document, and then I will go to my references, and I can click on Manage Sources to see my sources. Okay, so these are my sources. Okay, the master list here is the sources that I have stored on the computer. All right, so I can add them over here, okay, to my current list, because remember, not all my sources in the master list may have been cited in the current document. Okay, you can also, so that's your source manager. So here you can copy, delete, edit, you can add new sources, and you also have a preview area. Okay, so for example, if I click on the Baker Mary source here, all right, I get a preview of the citation. Okay, so that's a bibliography entry. That's what it will look like. Okay, and you can edit that. If you want to delete it, you just click on the delete button. Okay, so you can add more sources if you want. All right, and then to insert a bibliography, you click on the down arrow here. All right, and you will see bibliography, references, works cited. Okay, but we want to use bibliography. All right. Oops. Okay. That's your bibliography inserted in the document right there. Okay, and again, you can format that differently. So I can take the heading here, double click on this, and I can format it. I can format that differently. Okay, using a different format, different font. I can use a different color if I wish. This is a different color. Just for emphasis. Okay, and all of this here is my bibliography text. Okay, if I want, I can just select this. Okay, and I can format all of this differently as well. Okay, different color if I want. All of this, you can do lots of fancy stuff like that. Okay, and that's my bibliography at the end of the document. Simple as that. Okay. So, this is the end of our video, and this is how it is done, folks. All right.